This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.
Welcome to the Covert Nerd Podcast. Thank you for listening. It means a lot to me that you take the time out of your day to hear what I have to say. Before we get going, please share this with someone you know that would love this topic. I would really appreciate it. And also go to covertnerd.net for all the different ways you can get in touch with me. The links for the episode will be in the show notes on the app that you're using currently. Please take time to visit those that you're interested in. And without further ado, let's dive right in and nerd it up with Mana Games. I have Sam and Alma of Mana Game, and they just recently hit their Kickstarter goal, so congratulations right off the bat there for you two to start a gaming cafe. Let's get started. We love backstories and origin stories, so I guess how did this get started, Sam or Alma? I guess whoever wants to take the reins on that.
I think we'd both been kind of plumbing over the idea for some time. We both had kind of our own ideas and concepts, and then we finally met up after not seeing each other for a while. And
Sam and I have known each other forever.
It wasn't really a for sure transition.
Sam and I have known each other for about 15 years now, and we both have kind of been kicking around the idea. I really wanted a cafe of my own. That's kind of what I have done in my adult career, is managing cafes. And Sam's a big idea guy. He really likes to, come up with ideas. And gaming, especially board games, are something that have always been a fascination for him. And so when he got his master's in business, I'm like, oh, okay, well, we can definitely, bring these two skill sets together to create something for Lincoln.
Sure. So I guess to kind of elaborate, you have the creative side and the business side put together to make this gaming cafe. So, well, we'll start with you, Sam. What were some of your favorite games maybe growing up when you were young that you really played a lot? What were a couple of those that come to mind for you, Sam?
I would say my family mostly had a lot of kind of the standards. Like we have an old beat up copy of Risk, a copy of Clue. One of the biggest family favorites that we can always kind of agree on is Liar's Dice. So nothing completely fantastical or quite, I don't know where I got my taste for the unique per se as far as what I like now, but there was definitely a collection that my parents still have that, we did make play of,
Yeah, so those 2-day games of Risk, or however long Risk lasted.
Yeah, pretty much.
Turn into a fight sometimes. Flip the board, Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about you, Alma? What were some of your games that you grew up with that really kind of maybe got you started into this?
Yeah, well, not to brag, but I was girl champion of the chess club in elementary school. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there was only one other girl, but I beat her and I got a trophy. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. So chess. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm still not very good at it, honestly. I mean, I've always wanted to be good at it, especially Queen's Gambit just came out and I was like, gosh, what a cool game. Okay. I remember how to move the pieces and that's about it. But otherwise, growing up, I always had board games around. Sorry was a big family favorite. My mom and I really liked to play that. My mom told me that my dad would play Candyland with me for hours on end. I was 5 or 6. I was an only child. And so my mom would get tired of playing games and my dad would just sit there and play, however many rounds of Candyland that I wanted to play.
Awesome. That was a great game when you're 5.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Chutes and Ladders, Payday. Those are all definitely popular in our house.
Okay. Well, cool. Cut your teeth on Candyland then, sounds like. So how old were you when you got the chess trophy?
That would have been in 5th grade.
Fifth grade. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, what about now, Sam? What are some of the games that you really go to when it's game night? This seems to be always the same one we go to or kind of gravitate to more. What are some of those that you really, really love?
You can't ask me to pick my favorite kid.
Sure.
the favorite child. I mean, I know a good go-to of like, because it's easy. I definitely like easy to learn while still being fairly challenging in a way, or at the mercy of just dumb luck. So like, I mean, a good one would be Bermuda Triangle is an older classic that we've has basically been a standard of, whenever we don't have any other ideas, because I mean, it is just a roll and move, but then there's like, some other kind of random elements that, it's kind of, you can plan out a little bit, but it's still, best laid plans kind of thing.
Sure. Okay. All right.
We love Bermuda Triangle. It is one of our favorites around here. It's a vintage game, but it's just so cool. It has a storm that moves through it with magnets on it, and your boats have magnets on it. So like, there's always a chance that the storm's going to snatch you up, and then your boat's stuck on the storm, and that's just what you deal with now. And I don't know, it is really simple, like you said, but it's super fun. It's really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, describe
that.
It
only had a couple printings, so I mean, if you see a copy of one, snap it up, because it's not super rare or collectible, but it doesn't come around that often. I only have 2 copies, and then Alma and Jamie and Drake's house has one.
Yeah, we have one, and then I know one other person that bought it on eBay because I told her to. So I think that's probably like half the copies that are out there now.
Really? Okay. So it's kind of a collectible. I've recognized the name, but I don't know that I've played it.
It's fun.
What's a ballpark price for it on eBay, do you think?
We didn't pay that much for ours.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was Milton Bradley, so it's like a major publisher. Or no, it's Parker Brothers. I'm pretty sure it's Parker Brothers, but it was a major publisher. It's from that collection of kind of games from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where really some of them only had a couple of printings, but might have been actually pretty decent. If you can get a copy like really good condition, you might pay up to $30. But I mean, I usually try to pay between $15 and $25, kind of depending on how desperate I am. There's not too many pieces to it either, so it doesn't really,
Yeah, we paid about $20 for ours. Yeah,
so not too bad. Okay. Well, speaking of easy to learn, you kind of touched on it already. I'll segue into it. What, in your opinion, then we'll start with you, Sam. What makes a good game then? What in your opinion? Because both of you are pretty diverse into playing lots of games. What makes a good game then, do you think?
I would say definitely something it kind of comes from when I've had to teach games, is essentially how long I can hold even a group of adults' attention for at some kind of a party or a bar, because we do stuff at Cosmic Eye. Something that it's just really a page of pure instructions, or is really, really tactile, I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this. Like, you only have maybe a set amount of things you can do on any given turn. So that way it's like, okay, you can do 2 of these 5 things every turn. Okay, great. So then I understand these 5 things, and I can just do any 2 I want. I really like those with a decent amount of agency, but then it has to have a couple of kind of not quite blue shells, not something that'll completely unbalance the game, but something that can kind of make things interesting, as opposed to just getting hustled by your friend who's played it before.
Yeah. What about you, Alma? What do you think makes a good game? I should interject. I suppose it depends on your audience too.
Yeah. In general, I really like games that aren't too convoluted. The games I don't pick up again usually have too many conditions or too many changing rules. It's hard to get to the point. Like Sam said, if people are losing attention, or, if I have to watch a 50-minute YouTube tutorial about how to play your game, I'm probably not going to pick it up again. And, we all know and love games like that. But, in general, it's if I'm introducing someone to a game, I want it to, be a pretty easy to pick up and go kind of situation.
Well, sure. Yeah. I agree. It depends on your mood too, I suppose. But in general, I suppose talking to game creators and talking to audiences about games, I'm sure you have a pretty good idea of what the general population is looking for, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, definitely everyone has different flavors, but, there are a lot of games out there right now that are all kind of just iterations or variations of a similar type of game. And so we actually do theme nights too, where we we'll do like, oh, games like Sushi Go, and there's a lot of them, like, with that, are either like card burning games or like, what do they call them, like set type games where you're like making sets of whatever. And so usually, if you haven't played Overboss, we just did Overboss, and it's like, well, you haven't played this, but you probably have played King Domino, and these play really similarly, and kind of reach out that way. So easy to pick up, I think, is really important. Plus, I just love great graphics on games, and either, if that means like beautiful artwork or even just like simple and effective design, I really just love games that look great.
Or part of the ease of use is that design. Are the icons and logos all in the same spot? Are they easy to read? Are they color coded? Something like that kind of makes it easier to pick up.
Yes, for sure. And or like we picked up what was that? That Parks game that we played at Great Plains, and it was gorgeous, right? Like it had like all this beautiful art. It was it was really hard to like sink your teeth into and like you figure out what was going on. And I'm like, gosh, like I would buy this game just because of what it looks like. Like, and I probably still will, and I'll just have to, learn the rules a little better. But if something looks great right out of the package, okay, yeah.
I have a dozen games on my shelf that just look good, and I never really get the chance or right group of people to play. Like, I have a copy of Scythe. I've played it once. I have this one really beautiful game that looks like one of those like books from like the Crusades or like medieval Europe with like the the embellished writing and everything. All done custom, modern, gorgeous game. Very deep and 2 players, so I have to like find someone else who's as much of a nerd as I am to actually play it.
Yes.
Is it a deep dive game, like 50-page rule book, or what type is it, Sam?
It's got a booklet. Like if you've ever played something like Scythe, where it kind of has a little bit of a thickness to it, and maybe there's even like a high scoreboard or something like that where you can write in, for posterity. Yeah, I don't remember how to play it. I read the rules and I don't remember how to play it. That's how long it was. Yeah.
Start with you, Alma. How many games do you have on your shelf, you think?
So we just counted. We've got about 90 right now. I'm definitely not the collector. Like, I love playing games, but like, since I know that like any game that I want to play, Sam probably has already, I'm like, we just buy only the ones we love. So we've got about 90 on our shelf right now.
How about you, Sam?
I mean, I know I'm not one of the most egregious collectors out there. I mean, mine is more kind of a menagerie, sort of like a lot of this and that. I mean, my most recent acquisition was a game called Crib Golf, which is like cribbage-based golf from like, it's like from the 80s or something.
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't know, like complete games that are probably playable, I would say, is in maybe just the 300 range, probably closing in on 400. I haven't done a recent count in like a year.
Wow.
And then maybe like another 20 or so that are like incomplete because they're like missing pieces, or maybe they're just a board in a box, something like that. Lots of stuff you kind of pick up that's been really kind of seen better days, but is super unique. Like, some really limited stuff.
Yeah. Well, since you have you guys have seen lots of games, what is maybe the most bizarre game you've seen, Alma? Let's start with you. What's the most weird out there game that, in your opinion?
I mean, Sam is the master at finding the weirdest games or the strangest games. And since he's, kind of the vintage game connoisseur. Yeah. But I think that Mansions and Money has to be like the strangest and also the worst game that we have played so far. It's a home building game.
Really
it's
good
kind
one.
of like, it's kind of like playing like the game of life, where you like go through the steps to build your home. But it came out in like 1990, and so it's got all these like late 80s advertisements for different like actual products and companies.
Oh, really?
So it's just like, it's the most like cringy capitalism. And also, like, it took so long. We played it for like 3 hours, and I'm like, why are we still here? And we're looking at like people with like these late 80s haircuts, like telling us like what kind of kitchen to buy, and it's all sponsored by these actual companies.
And it had like a Buick LeSabre in it, because you could get like a car for your garage.
Yeah.
So it's got like product
Yeah.
placement everywhere. Product placement.
Oh,
all over the
absolutely! It
place.
was a sponsored game.
Just product placement game, like just buy our
Wow.
stuff, and it's not a good game. It's clearly designed
Ahead
by
of its
people
time.
who want to sell. Yeah, I want
Yeah.
it's designed by people who want to sell houses and kitchens and not board games. Like very
Wow.
clearly.
Like almost a gamification of greed
Yes.
and the kind of just
Yes.
exudes the 80s.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's it called
it's-
again? Mansions and Money, you said?
Yep.
Mansions and Money. All right.
And if you roll doubles, you have to shout mansions and money. You have to be the first one to shout mansions and money.
Oh man, I kind of want to just get it.
Or
Just
you have to like
kind
pay
of,
a fine
I
or
know.
something.
Yeah, well, we got it.
is it
so.
pretty easy to understand? I mean, is it easy?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just because Game of Life is pretty easy to understand.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's very similar to that.
okay. That's
It's
funny. I love it. How about you, Sam? What is that? Maybe your pick, or is there another one that you can think of that's just
I did
bizarre?
have that one in my stack, yeah. But I would say, as far as there's the weirdest that I haven't played is one I've got called, I want to say it's like business operations or something. It's business something. And and you basically just manage a company. You have to it gives you a sheet, like there's a pad of sheets that you can fill out your cost of goods sold and write up your, it basically it's running a business, the game, only
Okay.
you're doing all of the accounting and like making sure that your productivity and efficiency is peak. It's like, but I've never played it, and who would want to?
Sounds
Yeah, why would
One
I do
probably
that?
have played. At least off the top of my head. It was a big hit actually with my business classmates at some of our, we'd have like get-togethers because we had a small class of like 7 in my group. Is we'd play Stampin'. That's with an N. That's not ING. That's Stampin', like
Stampin'.
apostrophe. It's an officially licensed game from the United States Postal Service. And you collect stamps. Yeah, so your money is like in pennies, so like you have like 1, 2, 4, and 5 cents or whatever, and you have to like buy stamps and collect stamp collections of like, oh, here's the planes collection, here's here's the famous president's collection. So yeah, it's absolutely, it's not hard or anything. It's like pretty much
I
for
love
kids.
that.
Okay.
But it's definitely pretty weird. Like it's a game about a weird hobby that people actually kind of have. I mean,
Yeah.
you do what you like, I guess.
It's like coin collecting, the game.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give it an A for effort or E for effort on that, but that's interesting. Well, tell me then, I guess, what you guys have been playing games for quite a while. What have you seen over maybe the last 10, 15, 20 years, how the gaming community has evolved or changed from 2021 to maybe, late 90s or even mid 90s? What do you think has changed, good or bad? You want to take that one, Alma?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
honestly, has it changed? I've
Okay.
had so many people directly ask me, you have to have a lot of copies of Sorry in your store, and I'm like, all right, you got it. Specifically Sorry. I've had 4 different people be like, we need to play Sorry at your cafe, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
okay.
It was just so funny, but really, I don't think rather than changing, to me, it seems like there have always been lots of types of people in the community who love lots of types of games, but now they're finding each other and discovering new games together.
Okay.
So, whereas I don't know that it's changed as much as it seems, but now people are more aware of each other and new types of games are coming out. And, that's why we are really excited to have a community space for everybody. And, for the people who really want to play Terraforming Mars for 18 hours and people who want to play, Sorry for a couple rounds with their kids. I love that the gaming community encapsulates so many different types of people.
Okay. What about you, Sam? Anything to add on that? What's your opinion on the gaming world over the last 10, 15, 20 years?
Well, I would say it's kind of to a certain degree grown up, and especially like our generation, with all of our, I guess, nerd cliques or nerd groups. There's a lot of people who you compare it to something like Star Wars or any sort of major industry thing. It's like these were the things that people played with when they were kids, but now they're grown-ups. So they like having, new challenges and still being able to get into it, especially as people like start families, and have kids to play family games with. But I think there's also been a it used to be that there were kind of two different types of games, like back in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. There was like basically war games, which is like, those tabletops, the ones from like Avalon Hill and stuff, that are, just incredibly deep. And those are like games for grown-ups. And then there's basically kids games, which is just toys, like Milton Bradley and all them. It was just, and Hasbro now. It's just all like, it was basically toys. And so there wasn't, as we kind of grew up, there wasn't kind of that middle ground, which there is a lot more now, that, games that you can, as a grown up, have fun and still be challenged if you want to. I mean, obviously, but then, we still have a nostalgia for games like Sorry, and sometimes an easy game can be just as fun, I mean, I had business students having a great time collecting stamps in my living room, so like sometimes it's kind of good, just like any other entertainment, to sort of have that escape.
Yeah, I think, that's the best thing about games is that, that it covers so many types of games and it's generational. You keep your games and you play them with people, your children or the next generations. Actually, the very first game night that we had at Cosmic Eye, we didn't really know, like we didn't have like a theme or anything. We just like brought a bunch of games and we weren't sure like who was going to show up. And we actually played Sorry at our first game night with like a couple kids that showed up. And sometimes we do have all adults and they, especially like our RPG nights, we have a lot of, adults, but we also have adults who bring their kids. And, we're grateful that we're in a brewery that is accessible to all ages. So like they can bring their kids and get into Dungeons and Dragons or something similar. And I think, like Sam said, like these nerd cliques, like definitely people have moved out of their basement and like into the real world. Like, I mean, with the Stranger Things was so popular and that kind of like brought a new group into like RPG gaming. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. I think that it's a great way to meet people and hang out with your friends. Yeah, I think it's definitely more visible now and more accessible to more people than it's ever been.
I think so. I think you just kind of touched on there about the Dungeons and Dragons. I think, back in the 80s, if you played Dungeons and Dragons, you didn't talk about it at school. That'd get you beat up, Nowadays, that's cool now. So it's I think,
cool,
yeah. I think there, maybe you guys can touch on it. There seems to be a pretty big wave or resurgence, whatever you want to call it, of small independent game creators. Can you guys discuss that? I think that's something you might have at the cafe a little bit, or at least be making available to people. Can you describe that?
Yes.
If people are interested in making a game, what can they do there?
Well, I'm definitely not the expert on like making games, but we definitely want to be uplifting independent game makers. We eventually want to expand into publishing games, especially for our local friends. But we do have like a really cool community in Nebraska of people who are creating games, because we were just at the Great Plains Gaming Festival, and then we were at NewCon, which is in Council Bluffs, and there were tons of new games in all stages of development there. And that was really cool to meet all those people, get their cards, try their games. And, the people who are looking for publishers, the people who are just looking for play testers. I think that play testing is the best thing that you can do for your new game. It gets not only like your game, you can finesse some of those like player side elements, but it gets your name out there and it expands your community. Like a lot of games are funded on Kickstarter, and the most important thing for having a successful Kickstarter is your marketing. We built our email list up and we told everybody what we were doing for months and months before we launched our Kickstarter. and that's how you can guarantee success. And when you're, working on a potentially a global scale, like with something like a board game rather than something really local like us, you want to be able to reach out to as many people as possible. So making yourself visible, making your game visible, and getting your name out there is the biggest thing that I've seen that makes a difference for those people who are trying to break into the industry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Playtesting's huge. I helped Lee Bachma with Hordes of Power.
Yes.
A lot.
We love Lee.
Yeah. And we did hours and hours and hours of playtesting and just saying, okay, let's try it with this card. Okay, well, let's take this one out and put this one in and see how that goes. And it's, he did, I'm not going to take much credit, but he did a lot of the work, but I did help him with playtesting. And that is key. You got to work a lot of those bugs out on, and getting feedback from people and saying, okay, is this taking too long? And we would even time some of the games. Okay, it took a little longer when we introduced this element. It didn't take as long but it's fun. I enjoyed that process of it.
Yeah. Oh, we love Lee. We love Hordes of Power. We had him at our Kickstarter launch, and
yeah.
I actually haven't been able to sit down and play it yet. Like, I'm always in an event where I'm like doing other things, but I have 3 copies sitting in my home right now. And I'm like, okay, we got to do this. But Lee has the beautiful artwork on lock. Like his art style is perfect. It's awesome. And as soon as I saw his booth, I was like, all right, like I went and got a couple of my friends and I was like, okay, you guys have to go see this booth right now. Like, you guys are going to be friends. You're going to love this game. Go do it. Like,
yes. Yeah, it's good. It's a fun game, but I like the process. Is that whole kind of just working through some of the bugs and getting some feedback on it and figuring out. That's where, like when I ask you guys, what do you think makes a good game, and the elements, in my opinion, is playability, ease of use, and time too. You don't want it to be. His idea was I don't want it to be difficult like Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't also want it to be maybe necessarily Uno, try to find the in between. So,
right. Well, and there's a time and place for games that take, 3 hours or 3 days. And that's awesome. But, I think it's a lot more niche, I guess, for people who want to play games that take that long. Like, if you're trying to create a game that's going to make its way on a lot of people's shelves, like, I think shorter games are probably better for that. But, if you want to deep dive into the niche game market, like, absolutely make a game that you can play for 8 hours. Good for you. Like, that's awesome.
Maybe I don't know what your opinion is, but if you're a game creator, my thought is make the game that you want to play.
Of course.
Don't make it necessarily what everybody, I understand the marketability, but people are going to go to something you're passionate about. So if you're passionate about this game, it'll not necessarily sell itself, but you'll be more excited to talk to people about it. I don't know if that's your opinion.
Oh, I totally, that's exactly what I've said about Mana Games Cafe this whole time. It's like, I am creating this space because I want to be here. I want the space to be here. And so we're going to have soft pretzels because Alma wants soft pretzels, and that's my main food group, and that's the awesome
marketability
thing.
Doesn't matter on pretzels. They're just...
No. And also I've had multiple people say, well, you should have started with pretzels. I'm in, it's like, great. And,
you had me at pretzels.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, okay, well, like that is truly how I feel. It's like, I am building the place that I want to be at. And,
sure.
What does that look like for me? And since I've worked in customer service for so long, I'm like, I kind of know like what makes a good experience for a customer as well. And that's exactly the same with your game designers. It's like, if you're playing a lot of games, which elements kind of like stick with you and which ones don't really, make it a super fun playable game. And, if you don't like playing it, no one else is going to either. And if people see how excited you are, they're going to be excited with you, like, regardless of if it's that, their thing or not. Like, you are the spokesperson for your creative idea, whether that's a cafe or a game or whatever. It's like, you are the face and you are the one that is selling that to people.
Sure. What's some advice, I guess, that you might want to give some game makers? What are a couple things that you've learned over the years of what not to do, but also what to do? What are some pieces of advice to somebody listening to this right now that's thinking about starting a game, but I don't know where to go or where to get started? What's some pieces of advice for you guys that you guys would give out?
I would say for me, and it's mostly, again, just comes from having to teach games, and especially teaching games to a lot of different people, the people of a lot of different age groups and demographics and stuff like that. And especially people who have played a lot of games versus people who haven't played any games. I do ultimately have to go on the side of ease of learning. But what I really like, because, as Alma was saying, it is kind of ultimately a niche market for anything that's going to take longer than like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours is about the most you can push, because that's just all the time people have anymore. So I do ultimately kind of like the shorter games, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, something you can play even a couple of rounds of if you wanted to, if you needed to fill the time. What would have to go along with that, and what always needs to in any good game, is that replayability. Without it being completely random dumb luck, it at least needs to have that replayability. So King Domino would be a good example. Recently, myself and Drake have both been really into ecologies is a good one, because there's just there's a lot of different choices to be made, or villainous, because each one plays differently, so to try out each different one, but that offering of different ways, especially because maybe the circumstances are making you have to change, because of that element of luck, that it's oh, well, that strategy is not going to work this time, so I need to be able to get onto a different strategy. So definitely a really malleable, player-focused kind of gameplay. Obviously, there's stuff there's with RPGs and with, a lot of the World War II games and war games, there's maybe a story to be told. And so sometimes the story can start to take precedent over the playability of it. So it's, you do want to maybe, if it's something really kind of, idea oriented, something like Scythe, where it's this really interesting universe, or something like, say, Root, where it's really interesting intellectual property. But you still want to ultimately have it be focused on player choices instead of driving towards something specific.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point about replayability too, because one game that we actually really like is the Jaws board game. So based on the movie, so we kind of know what the story that it's telling is already, and it's played in 2 acts. But we have played it multiple times because there is a little bit of unpredictability about it. It's kind of a hybrid, competitive and cooperative game, because 3 of you are competing against the shark, and so that I think is a really great example of telling a story, but also having enough variety that you can replay it and still it'll be fun for everyone. And I think that comes from playing games over and over and over and over, play it a lot and see how it goes. And, the only thing that I would add to that too, is that there are a lot of resources out there for, new game developers or independent gamers that are designing a game. And I am, we are still kind of jumping into that. But one thing that I was told very early on in the process of wanting to start my own business is just tell literally everybody what you're doing, because you never know who is going to have a piece of advice or a connection. That has been our experience the entire way. Is anyone that I mention this to is wow, that's a great idea. I know so-and-so who does this, or let me know and I'd be happy to back your Kickstarter. It is 100% just marketing. Once you have a good game, so you got to get to that point. But even if you're still in the development phase, you can find people who are willing to uplift you and help you out. And the Great Plains Gaming Project does an excellent job with bringing people to their developer row, really focused on these people who had games in all stages of their development and giving them a little bit more of an audience, a space to play, a space to get new play testers and new eyes on their things. So, just reaching out to people and just everyone you meet, just tell them what you're doing. You can take or leave whatever advice they give you, but most everyone's going to have at least something to say, and it usually benefits you.
Yeah, they always have connections out there. Yeah.
Yes.
To quote Spaceballs, my brother's cousin, sister's former roommate. So you never know how the connections are going to
Exactly.
be. The advent of some of this new technology, with 3D printing and printing being so available, you can print out those test pieces and kind of get the tactile feel of it. I know that's more towards the end of the development, but still seeing how the card layout is on the card. Are the icons too big? Are they too small? And things like that are key when you get a little bit later in the development.
Absolutely. There's nothing like a tactile game too. I mean, tabletop simulators, all well and good, but it's never the same thing as actually having that stuff with you and actually being able to see it. It's exciting too to have the first piece of merchandise we got with our logo on it, and we're like, that's us, that's a real thing that we have now, and it's really exciting. And we would love to be able to use our platform as we expand to be a resource as well. I'm a big fan of using the resources that are out there to help you achieve your goals.
Sure, definitely. Yeah, and what you're doing, the gaming cafe, obviously it's a place where people can hang out and play games, and you're talking about having possibly people that are wanting to make games to come there too. So what else is going to be at the cafe, or what's going to make the cafe maybe unique for that some other cafes maybe don't do or do? I know they have one in Omaha, but
yes, Spielbound. We love Caleb. Yeah. We love Spielbound. Super fun. I would say that the main difference for us is that we are going to kind of expand out of just board gaming. We will have a huge board game library. It's going to be in rotation. We're going to have new games. Our retail selection, we're going to try and focus on locally designed or brand new things straight off of Kickstarter. So introducing people to games is something that we love doing. But also, we really want to create a space for RPG games, for war games. We're going to have maps, terrain pieces. We're going to have minifigs. Oh, wow. We actually hit our Kickstarter goal. We had a stretch goal to get a 3D printer so we can actually offer custom fig printing in store, and nice. We're really excited about that. I don't know anything about 3D printing, so I'm going to figure that out. But I do have my resources that I'm going to reach out to for that. But rather than just be a board game cafe, which Spielbound does super, super well, we are going to also expand into we want to host learn to play events, but also how to be a DM workshops. We've got people who would love to teach something like that to get people involved. And, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who would like to try, but maybe they don't have a group, or maybe they're not sure where to get started. And so we want to just have a lot of community events like that to introduce people to either new games or new activities. And so we really want to put a focus on for me, those RPG games. Sam's really into the Warhammer 40K and the other kind of tabletop fig games like that. And then he also has a big collection of vintage games that probably no one's going to find anywhere but our store. Cool. And then of course we'll have great coffee and food. We've got our roaster. We have a local roaster who's whipping up some coffee for us. And we just hope to have, I'm a coffee person through and through. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And so I'm really excited to just have my own coffee shop too. That's a big component of it for me, is we can serve great coffee, we can have food, and we'll have, stuff to do for a few hours downtown. It's going to be great.
What about you, Sam? You mentioned, or she mentioned, you like 40K. Is that a genre of gaming you like, RPG style, or is that your favorite? Or
I really like a little bit of everything. Because I've got a handful of 40K stuff. So I keep my finger to the pulse of that hobby and kind of in that community. And then I also like how they've recently been rolling out kind of a smaller stuff, squad-based skirmishy kind of game. So not everybody has to necessarily invest in a giant, it's the joke is because one of the guys in one of the people in the universe. He says like, even in death I serve, and it's like, and the joke is, even in debt I serve.
Yeah.
Because like, guys like take out loans to buy, minis. So I mean, I like that. I have been getting into tabletop RPGs, especially as we've been doing more and more stuff at Cosmic Eye. I don't know if I could necessarily ever commit to like, a whole campaign or anything. But I definitely like the way that we do it, and the people we've had come in, even myself, I've had the opportunity to DM some, that kind of single session format that we've really kind of found to be successful. But even then, yeah, I mean, I like old games and weird games, especially shopping for games, seeing, even if it's just like, what does Target have on sale right now? Oh, I'm going to look at this Kickstarter that's getting advertised at me, and I find great games, down every avenue I look, because they'll be like, there could be some really great deal at Target there. I've found some, great stuff on Kickstarter, stuff that gets advertised to me on social media. I mean, that dang targeted algorithm, but sometimes it works. And at least I'm finding, like local, usually kind of like one-off creators, these are Kickstarter people on their first product. And like the one I mentioned earlier that Drake and I are into, that Ecologies, that's just like a guy with an Etsy store where this is his only game, this is his only product.
That's all he
he's
sells,
about
huh?
to come out with like the third. He started with like one game, and now, well, he's got the base game, and then there's like a second one, and now there's about to be a third like group of like a third set basically of these cards, and he's just doing it all independently. Or like I found one like Good Dog Bad Zombie. It's like some game company in California that does a lot of they're fully independent. So I mean, I'm not going to fault the algorithm for turning me on to some cool stuff. But even like if I can find, even if it's a bunch of like vintage and antique stores and turning up old finds in there, and I found stuff like Bermuda Triangle, and really. And that branches off of, I was and am like big into collecting photography stuff. So it's kind of for me, it's sort of like just, I guess I have a bit of a savior complex about it, because like those things are finite. We joke about the Bermuda Triangle, but honestly, we don't know how many copies of that game are still really out there, and I found like this copy of some pirate game from 1946 in a local bar, and it's a great establishment, and they wanted to have some games around, but they've got this random game that's as old as like World War II, just sitting on the shelf. And so I offered to just pay. I just called them on this cold call. Hey, I saw you had this in your lobby. I would really like to buy it from you. And I just had to, because I couldn't, I didn't want, these are, cool. It's kind of like it's like a treasure trove, kind of like with any other kind of collectible items, there is a finite supply, and I totally believe they should be played. Some of mine have been rewrapped in plastic or whatever, for posterity. But I definitely believe in playing games. They're not just meant to sit on a shelf.
I love those old games. We have a couple of them from like the 60s and 50s that we happen to find, and those are just kind of cool to see what the gaming world was like like you said, in the 40s and 50s. So is that
and it wasn't nearly as like industrialized. They weren't churning out hundreds of thousands of copies of Monopoly a year. This was much more like low. We might sell a couple hundred copies a year, because things were it was a different scale of economy. So there literally weren't as many being made.
That's awesome. You've probably got some cool games in your collection that you could just talk about, and each one probably has a story.
Yeah, and that's what I like about them too, especially when I can find the used ones. Is like that was in some other family's collection, and it kind of has its own sort of little history in it.
He has always been a big like antique guy, a big antique store Goodwill kind of guy. That is not me. I'm like.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of that done on my trip here.
Yeah, so it's when you go into thrift stores just looking for this. But there are, you can see it online all the time. These guys finding these just rare games on the Goodwill shelf for $8, and they're selling on eBay for $80.
Exactly.
So, what games are you guys looking forward to that are coming out here in the next year or so that you're excited about, that you want to let the listener know about? What about you, Sam? Is there a couple of Kickstarters or just something on the horizon you're looking forward to?
I was going to say there's at least one. We were just talking about the older games. That company, I think it was the same company that brought back the like the Fireball Island and stuff like that. It's called like Restoration Games. They're doing a base game and an expansion for Thunder Road, which is like a game you can't find copies of. I think, and when I showed it to Alma, she was like, "This is so cool," because she's a big Mad Max fan. Okay. And I think I've seen 2 or 3 copies for sale, maybe ever, and one of them was on eBay. It was like $230 or something like that. Wow. So like this was a very rare game, and it's got some, it's one of those really, kind of one-offs too. It just didn't get printed for that long because it was such a kind of a fad or like a cultural trend, when like the movie premiered, and then it just didn't stay in. So there's just such limited copies of it. But I'm really excited because I've seen some of their press for it, and they're really, it looks a lot like the copies I've seen online, like the older copies. So they definitely got the rights to it, and it looks like it'll be cool again. Like I said, I really believe games should be played, and so I really, I want to try this game because it looks cool. And then the new ecology stuff is pretty cool too. I mean, I know Jake's gonna buy it anyway, so I don't have to worry about getting it.
Yes, but I think it's already next week, right? Yeah, I think
very soon.
Ecology's expansion comes out. So
what about you, Alma? What are you excited about?
A while ago, probably like over a year ago, I backed a game called Chai High Tea from Steeped Games on Kickstarter. They're based out of Spain, I think, and they had just so many COVID like supply chain problems. And so it's been taking forever, and they're finally like getting to their US shipping, and I'm like really excited for it to come because I like went all in. I don't even know how to play this game. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful game. And so
can you describe kind of what it is? Is it a card game? Is it a board game?
Yeah, it's like a tea shop game. Like you're running like a tea shop, and so it's got a bunch of different like little tokens. And so I went in for the deluxe, and it's got like these beautiful like acrylic tokens. It has coins in it. Like it's just like I don't even know how you play it. I'm just like really excited about all the stuff that it comes with.
Looks awesome.
Yes, it's beautiful. And so it's finally like getting shipped to me like really soon. And I'm like, like I've been waiting for this. And I'm really pumped about that to finally arrive to me. I get so much stuff on Kickstarter all the time.
Sure.
And
you can go broke
just
easily backing Kickstarter.
Yes,
you have to be careful.
I just saw today there's like a I gotta look into it. There's like a dim sum like board game, like with like food and stuff. And I really like games like that are food related. I don't know why, but like Point Salad or Sushi Go, it's Sushi like those kind of quick playing games that are all for some reason food centric. I think are really fun. And so I'm just like trolling on Kickstarter all the time for things that are coming out. And like I just got my I backed Elixir dice on Kickstarter. So those are like liquid core. So you like roll them, and they're like they have a liquid center with like glitter and stuff in them. I backed way too many dice Kickstarters. So I'm like excited that we're actually playing our RPG campaign in person again, because I'm like, okay, good. Like I have a lot of dice, so I'm ready to roll them.
Break out the dice.
Yes.
Well, I didn't ask you, Sam. The Thunder. Sorry, remind me again. The Thunder game you were playing, backing the based on
Thunder Road. It's like
what's that like?
I don't think it's licensed from the movie. I do like those kind of games because I have like 2 big rig trucker games too that are like you can tell they were from when that was in style, but then neither one of them could get the licensing. So I think Thunder Road's the same thing. They couldn't get the licensing, but they were like, hey, post-apocalypse car stuff, yeah.
Is it a card game or board game? I guess describe.
No, it's a board game. You have like there's like the board is 2 sections, and so you keep pushing them over each other, so like the road kind of keeps going. And then like there's actual little like cars that you have to, and like a gyrocopter that you have to actually move down the road. Okay,
cool. Yeah, sorry, I wanted to get back to you on that. I was like, I kind of figured it was board game, but I thought I better clarify for the listeners so they can get an idea of what that's like. So cool. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys coming on and talking about your love of board games and the gaming cafe. I guess let everybody know where they can get in touch with you and kind of keep abreast of what's happening and how the cafe is progressing and when it's going to open and things like that.
Yes. So we do have we have an email newsletter list. I don't send out a ton. I send out just, the necessary updates. Our website is kind of the central hub for that. That's just mana-games.com. We also are on Facebook, Instagram, and actually TikTok, Mana Games LNK. So we're posting things there all the time. We have a streaming channel on Twitch too, kind of a separate pandemic thing that we did. It's like, everyone's starting a streaming channel, but we actually are very, very close to making affiliate on that as well. So that's been fun. And so any of those channels are a great way to keep up with what we're doing. Everything goes well. We are hoping to be open actually before the end of the year. My goal would be to be open kind of mid-December.
Nice.
We've already, it seems quick. It's kind of terrifying, but also really exciting. But we are in the process of reviewing the lease for our space. I've got most of our tables and equipment sourced already. I knew that was going to be a problem with COVID. There's just a lot of supply chain problems out there in the world right now. So everything is shaping up really well. As soon as we get the keys and we start loading stuff in, we are hoping to at least be open for kind of a soft launch. To kind of work out, just playtesting is really important. It's also come play test our business and see, what we can improve on before our big grand opening. But there's, of course, permits and everything you have to get. Yeah, we're hoping to be open before the end of the year. So we are full speed ahead.
I was going to say, and we'll be downtown, and then the Haymarket is what we're hoping for a physical location.
Yeah.
But obviously updates on that. So definitely follow us on, any kind of social media so you can see what's happening. But otherwise, we hope to make it very clear. We're going to a big sign, so you'll see where we plan to show up.
I've already I've ordered us a neon sign. I'm pumped. I'm excited. And I really want to share with everybody where it's going to be. And we are just inches away from being able to do that. So that'll hopefully come in the next couple of weeks.
I think you tapped into a market that Lincoln just doesn't have. That gaming market, and I think when I saw that, I just happened to catch the Kickstarter. I think you hit the goal pretty quickly, right? I know you still had 4 or 5 days left.
Actually, yes, we hit the goal at NewCon. I just finished running a game of Lords of Waterdeep. We were surrounded by people who were cheering us on, and that was an incredible experience. Was to hit our 15,000 at NewCon, and it was oh shoot, that's actually happening. I've been working this whole time just okay, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this, but then actually making that goal, it's okay, actually we're doing this now, it's really happening. And so we ended up hitting 2 of our stretch goals as well, which is incredible. I have had nothing but overwhelming support from everybody in the community, honestly. People are so excited for this to come to Lincoln. Even people who are in Council Bluffs, are when I'm in Lincoln, I'd love to stop by. And I totally agree. I think that I think it's a really necessary thing for Lincoln, especially as people get vaccinated and are able to go out and about again. They're going to want to go out and hang out with their friends. And we really want a cool space to do that. So we are so excited.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love the idea, and if a town that has it, enjoy that, use that space, and so I'm glad Lincoln has a place where we can go and talk to you guys and say, hey, I'll show you how to play, because that's half the battles. I see all these games on the wall, and I'm I don't know how to play any of these, and I don't.
Yes,
I'm probably impatient, as I don't want to read the booklet. I just play with me for 5 minutes. I'll figure it out, and I think that's the easiest way. So. Sounds like you two really know what you're doing, and you can do that and help somebody get into the gaming space and really enjoy it. So, but yeah, thanks for doing that. I really appreciate you guys taking time to talk. And real quick,
of course,
before we go, I got a couple quick rapid fire questions. So, Sam, when you play Monopoly, which piece do you pick and why?
The battleship, because I like it's like a World War I style battleship, and I like those.
So how about you, Alma? What do you pick?
I pick the iron. I don't know. I just like that it's like made of metal. I was retired in 2013 and got replaced by a cat, which really bums me out. But like the iron,
I didn't know that.
The iron and the thimble to me are like just like so funny. Like they just seem like something that you would just have in like a kitschy drawer, you know, and just like here, I'll just throw it on the game board. So I like those too.
Well, how about your favorite coffee, Alma? We'll start with you since you're the coffee aficionado. What's your favorite coffee?
Well, so we just sampled some of our coffee from the coffee roaster for our custom Manna House blend, and it is awesome.
Okay.
The coffee roaster does air roasted coffee. Their Kenya is definitely my favorite. I also like just came back from Seattle, so I'm like coffee capital of the U.S., and we had some amazing coffee there too. Cafe Vivace. It was like a sidewalk cafe, and they had just a little espresso cup with like orange zest and cinnamon, and it was so good. Like I was like, you know, it was just like 3 ounces, and it was amazing. So I just love coffee, all coffee.
What about you, Sam? Favorite coffee?
Well, as far as like a drink goes, probably like kind of a blonde, usually something lighter. But like, you know, just black with a little bit of sugar. Otherwise, as far as like makers go, I mean, yeah, I definitely do like the blend that we've gotten from our roaster. And then I also like, you know, when I lived on the West Coast for a year or two and up in Portland, and there was definitely some pretty serious coffee going on there. So nice. I do like it just as much. I can't have it as much as I like. It is as you get older, it gets harder, but
yes. So you guys have good coffee, good games. I don't know if that's a tagline, or have you guys got a little tagline ready for the cafe yet or not?
So I have been just like writing this on our Facebook for a year, but our little sort of tagline is like bringing a love of gaming to a table near you, because right now we currently bring the games to the table, and you know, then we're going to be bringing a bunch of games and tables to the community. So that's kind of, I don't know, I made that up probably at like 2 a.m. on Facebook. So
awesome. Cool. Well, hey, I'm really excited about the gaming cafe. So I'll put a link in the show notes for all the different contacts that you mentioned, so people can get in touch with you, even if you're not local. You know, shoot them a nice email or send them some money if you want to, whatever helps, or ideas for games or whatever. You know, maybe tap Sam's brain on some vintage games if you find any, right? To feed the addiction.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, well, and our branding is on point. So like, really, you don't have to be local to like the way our stuff looks on our shirt.
Yeah, true.
It's true.
Very
our
true.
Redbubble store, I've ordered so much stuff from our own Redbubble store already, just because I like looking at our stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you have merch. Okay. Let's get a link on that so everybody can pick up merch or whatever, however you want to support it. And you know, if you don't live in Lincoln, make sure you support your local gaming cafe, because I know they're all over the place. Of course. So.
We love them.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's been fun. And like I said,
thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll include links in the show notes so people can get in touch with you. And maybe we'll do another episode in 6 months and kind of see how things are going and see what's happening. So, all right. Well, thanks, Sam. And thanks, Alma. Appreciate it.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Sounds good.
It was a great time talking to Alma and Sam. They're very passionate about their gaming cafe and games in general. Please go to covertnerd.net for all the different ways you can get in touch with me, and also visit Alma and Sam, the links that I included in the show notes on the app that you're using. Also, please share it with a friend. And until next time, nerd it up.